What up, family? It's a nice rainy day out here, as you can see, but it's still time for our recharge. So today I want to talk to you from Genesis chapter 4, I believe it's verse 7. In verse 7, God says to Cain, he says, sin is crouching at your door and its desire is to have you. Y'all see that raindrop just hit me? He says, sin is crouching at your door and its desire is to have you, but you must rule over it. The reason why I wanted to bring that into you is because inevitably for all of us this week, we have been tempted by sin. Some of us have been more than tempted. Some of us have actually sinned in a variety of ways, as we all do every single day. But the reason why I think that this text is so important for us as we go into this weekend is that God makes some proclamations when he talks to Cain. The first thing he says is that sin is crouching at your door. God is first saying to Cain that sin is actually a reality for us. It's a reality in our existence in this life. There's always something after us. And the thing that's always after us is sin. I think that that's interesting because a lot of times we spend so much time talking about the devil that we forget we have another enemy, which is our flesh, and the sin that resides within us. And so he tells Cain, sin is crouching at your door. What I also think is beautiful about that is the fact that God is actually telling Cain something that I think is coming from a place of grace. God is saying to Cain, hey, this thing is after you, but you don't have to let it get you. That was a real ghetto way to say that, but y'all know what I'm saying. Sin is crouching at your door is like a warning. It is a warning. It's a warning that God was laying out for Cain. He said, and its desire is to have you. I think the reality for us is we don't often think as sin is against us. And I think even more specifically, we don't think that our pet sins are against us. We don't think that the things that we kind of like to coddle, the behaviors that we like to keep with us, the emotions that we like to display, one of them being anger like Cain, are actually after us. We don't actually think that sin is crouching at our door and its desires to have us. But I do want to invite you this weekend to really think about those sins, whether that be pride, whether it be envy, whether it be covetousness, whether it be anger, whether it be lust. The list can go on and on and on and on and on. The reality is the words that Cain was spoken, the words that were spoken to Cain from God were a warning that sin is actually crouching at your door. Its desire is to actually have you, that is to consume you. And then God says this, but you must rule over it. What I think is dope about that is God is laying out something that comes through his grace. And I think really has found its fruition in Jesus. And it's this: even though sin is a very real threat, even though temptations are very much real, even though they are strong and they are powerful, even though sin can have us, it can consume us, it doesn't have to. God said what he said to Cain. He said, you must rule over it. The reality for us as believers is we have something in Jesus through the power of the Holy Spirit, and it's power to rule over sin. Paul said it this way: sin shall no longer have mastery over you. And so I just want to encourage you today and this weekend, if you have fallen into sin this week, the reality is that has happened, and the Bible promises us that God can forgive us. But I also think it's important for you to know that you don't have to. I think it's also important for you to know that those things that seem to kind of come in second nature, that are sinful, don't have to be a thing, because we actually have power to conquer them in Jesus. And so I invite you this weekend to ask God to forgive you for the sins that you have committed, but then ask him to give you power. Ask him to give you power to rule over those things that kind of threaten you from day to day. Freedom, I love you guys, and I will see y'all Sunday. Have a good weekend.